at this particular shrine. Kavania, now I have paper on the people.
Yeah, no, we'll come on the
Correct. People, what you will do for us, if any duration here on the stage, we don't even mind them to see any I want jazz in a different way. Downloading the if I put people say I don't see a period. When you would ever. So, I will one the next session I gave whereby I no conversation, and I will create opportunity for one or two questions. It's something that some of us are one of our group. There is always something to learn when two people are talking. And again, an opportunity because on the 25th time, you can each of the questions at him. But this is just coming in with this Gerald Eze. I applied bank. So we are bringing up to the stage one of us, a member of Oliona, Emeka Uma. And I want him to just come up and introduce himself properly. Yes, sir.
Oh, gosh.
You don't worry. I think
No, the man. Oh, you want
My name is Emeka Uzoatu. I work as a journalist in Lagos.
So, I'm excited to be here at Obaji, and a lot of times I look at the Igbo world, and the only way I fully appreciate what it is about is when I have conversations about it. So I have a little confession to make. My New Year is never complete until I sit with Mr. Uzoatu to discuss life, music, and we'll talk about rock, jazz, blues, country music, Igbo music, different genre of music. And I'm excited to be sitting here today, taking his questions and engaging the audience too and being in conversation with him. There's so much to understand about Igbo music, but in my style, I like to have conversations about it and appreciate it, because in conversation, things that you do not know even come out of you. And then the audience can always observe what's happening and put questions back. Thank you very much. So we've had Igbo music from folk music traditions of the Igbo people to high life and of course to Afrobeats. So I'd like to look at a man like Bob Dylan, who plays guitar and performs poetry through his music. And then I like to look at Michael Jackson, who plays guitar and tells Igbo stories in a very poetic way, a very lyrical way. And I like to look at these two men in their different worlds. Okay, so what do you have to say?
That is it. In Africa, the problem we have always had is in our contact with the West. Definitely, they will say, some people will have their front rate to say that Africa has no music, Africa has no religion, Africa, that we are leftover men. That's why we are black, that we were bombed. And were just a remnant of a burnt white man, so to speak. But you find out that creatively, Africa has always been with all these things. Like you talking about Ejaga and Dela. Sometimes you wonder whether maybe the day God was creating musicians and minstrels, but he created this man and created the other. People with when Dylan won the Nobel Prize for Literature, people are always saying, I said, why should you give it to a musician that is not a poet? But when you listen to Dylan's music, if you say he's not a poet, then who is? Then of course, there's this argument about whether Africans have poetry. If you listen to Ejaga's music and you don't think he's a poet, then who can you call a poet in this world? So the issue there is we have gone from rejection to a kind of affirmation. In the sense that now they have agreed that we have these things. Because Afrobeat is ruling the world now. However you look at it. So that is why it's my privilege to be here. You said I was at that studio in Oka a long time ago. The kind of music you play with those children that day, it's not something somebody can forget easily. And luckily, I've been always at your shows. You were saying that today you have seen the full band. I've seen this band. So I can write a book about this band. So definitely, you are on track. You must not be an Ejaga and you must not be a Bob Dylan, but I think you are on track. So don't ever slack from what you're doing. The only way for you now is to move forward.
Thank you very much. I had to throw this question because we've not talked in a long time about Bob Dylan. And there are some songs by Mike Ejaya that if you listen to, you will wonder, is it even Bob Dylan that we should place him side by side with, or George Orwell? Look at a book like Animal Farm, and then you look at the song Mwamudabo by Mike Ejaya. That song, he was simply telling the Nigerian situation of today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With animals, with illustrations with animals.
The problem with the West is that they always say theirs is better than ours. Which, if you really think about it, do you want them to say that our own is better than their own? So most of the things that they are now saying, if you look at the tortoise in African stories, nobody can come and tell you this is the person that told a story about the tortoise. Everybody knows it. So even if you tell it and they'll be looking at you as if you are wearing the back of your clothes, in the sense that all these things they are now propagating, we have done it a long time ago. George Orwell uses animals to tell the story about oligarchy and all that. But if you listen to our folk tales, we've been saying these things before they were even created, because I believe the first man was black. Historically, however you look at it. So we're doing all these things and they will now want to belittle us. Let us talk about music, for instance. How did high life start? You took us as slaves to your place and introduced us to your instruments. We use your instruments to invent another kind of music. That was how jazz started. And when jazz traveled back to Africa, every community has its own addition to it. High life started in West Africa. What we call the Zaire music started there. In Makossa, in Cameroon area and everything. So we found a situation where, in spite of all this we've been doing, they will still think that we are not in the groove, so to speak. But now, Afrobeat, it has proven that, look, we have the beat, or we had the beat before they even got it. Now, all our guys are having access to their instruments and everything, and we're playing better music than them. They have even admitted it. No, I will not expect them to come and say it openly, but that is the situation now. Though, I want to come in the sense that the thing is affecting our musicianship. Because in Africa, if a real African musician plays his instrument for you, whether you understand the language or not, you will almost you can commit murder the way the music will move you. Which was affirmed by one of the reverends who brought the Anglican Church to us, who came to Nigeria about 1900. He wrote a book by 1920. If you read a chapter on music, on Igbo music, you will say, is this man not a white man? He said, if you listen to the Oja and you don't control yourself, that you'll be in trouble. So you found a situation where they always want to say we're not doing anything. Oh, we're not proof that we can do these things. So the Jaga, all the stories they tell, all those stories are older than the Jaga. We would think that the Jaga is made to sell. But all those stories are older than his forefathers. We have had these stories in Africa. It's for somebody to put it to song. And he did it so well, and he's doing it so well. Not just him anywhere. Because if you emphasize the Jaga, you'll be like, maybe because he became popular now. Yeah. A lot of our minstrels don't believe with them. Coming down to even Afamo to the music that made me know about the Civil War is Afamo music. And you come on my phone, I know that when you listen to it, you find out that you read all the books, but you won't pick anything. But once you hear it, there was a question he asked. He said, when we went to war, all our soldiers were traders and workmen that were just gathered to take it to the battle. Can a trader win a war? You know. So, and when he said in music, you see, he doesn't need to write it as a poem. So basically, all these our minstrels were God sent by me.
You know what you're saying about the altar is very apt, because even in the tradition, the Igbo would say Ojadufu Dike One or Jababa, or they say Opidufu Dike. What that means is that when I was playing, I noticed that you were in tears. Another person would have climbed the pantry with bare hands. These things happened. But when people were not into other distractions, it moves them more. And so you sound the other. Even the person playing it also had the gift to also move you with the instrument. You sound the other, and it makes someone go, to attempt something extraordinary. Then the Obuaja will be warned. So Jadukwa Dike One or Jababa. One who played with Auto, he analyzed it for me even better. He went for a performance and he was playing UP. And he was looking at one man and was playing UP. And the man was almost, going to embarrass himself at a point, moved to lift the high table. And when he was done doing that, he came back for him and gave him a real hit with the elbow. That he was trying to illustrate to me the power of his instrument. Real life story. And so I ask people, when you say that my Oja, if you are writing and you call my Oja flute, is it that the Africans don't have the power to name instruments? Don't you know the name? It is Oja. Because I play the flute, and if you call it flute, you will confuse me. If you call OP, the trumpet, you will confuse me. And because this one is even moving people, and therefore more powerful, more potent, even in my environment. And you come to my environment, you have scholars in this environment call these things flute. Sometimes I want to ask, what happened to your generation? Because my generation, we did not even get these things, but we have the hunger, and we are going back to these instruments.
Well, I think basically, let's say economics drives the world. That was what Marx wanted to say, but people took it that he wanted to cause revolution and everything. What Marx said was that it is the economics that is the superstructure. Every other thing now will want to key into the economy. So in our generation, my brother, a friend of mine did a demo who were in the university. When he went to the studio to record it, he came back and everything was a different thing altogether. But they will tell you have to do something commercial. Like, it's true you have a studio where you're recording now, but that a black man in America. But Malinge stuck to his said, if you don't release this record, I will not play with you again. And they released it, and today, what's going on is one of the greatest albums ever released. So at our time, we tried. We tried our best, because our time, when High Life, after the reign of High Life, what ran here was kind of local rock, Wings, Black Children, Action, and some all those things. So if you play anything, let me give you a typical example.
I think I learned for that track playing like James Brown, and it didn't work.
Until he met a lady in America who told him, look, sing about your people, sing about your problem. And that was how Afrobeat started. And that was Fela's invention. Today, you don't talk about Afrobeat without mentioning Fela. Our own Onisha here, Prince Nicole Mbaga, played Sweet Mother and went to Lagos, and no studio agreed to record it. EMI, what do they call them? Decca, Aphrodisia, Phillips, all refused. And he came back here and went to Oka and recorded Sweet Mother. And at the end of the century, Sweet Mother was taken as the African record of the century. So we tried, but circumstances.
I understand. How do you feel about Onitsha? Like, you know it more than myself. What Onitsha was to high life music. I even living in Onitsha. You know what Onitsha was to Celestinoku, Osadebe, name them. And when you look at Onitsha now, and you live in Onitsha, I actually live in Onitsha. So how do you feel about Onitsha then and now?
Another thing about the economy and the people who have the money, they will decide the music and everything.
I don't think the record companies that were there in Onitsha at that time, I don't think they are still functional. I don't think.
Isidore was never recording in Onitsha, I say.
He was performing in a number of hotels.
He was in Lagos. It was the Civil War that brought him back. And when he was in Lagos, he wasn't singing Igbo music. He was singing £1, no balance, and stuff like that. But when the war started and he came back, he started singing in Igbo and took a stage and had musicians. Because one thing I want to point out is that the kind of music Isidore and Co were playing was complete music. He sang, went backstage, the guitarist took solos up till tomorrow. After the trumpet will take his own solo. It was just like what Fela was doing. They were playing real music for people who don't know what music is about. So but what you find out is that young men, they were just going to play at parties. And it's better you play music that people know instead of trying to play new music.
Like you pointed out about Michael Jackson's generation, it wasn't just him. There was Uzoatu on the unit. In fact, I remember the night we were searching for the man who plays unit, and we searched a number of Uzoatu's music, and it was even difficult to find these songs on YouTube. So we had show promoter with the OP. He was playing the OP and telling stories. Uzoatu was playing the unit and telling stories. The same thing Michael Jackson did. You had people like Eze and the area scatter on the Obaka. But I think that Michael Jackson's generation, which is this generation I'm asking you what happened to them, did something interesting. They used the guitar, the trumpet, the saxophone, the Western musical instrument, but they continued to express the Western musical instruments as if they are traditional Igbo musical instruments. If you listen to Osadebe's music, the trumpet sounds to me like the Oja. You might say, Kenelumu, Ezima for Nobion, you will hear the trumpet say, pa 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 pa. So like,
is that the thing I was telling you about instrumentation and everything? When the Igbo people came here, they couldn't cope with our own instruments. You know, they started complaining about tuning and all that. But we took their own and taught them how to play it.
Like Jaya evolved a whole new style of playing the game.
Yeah, that's what we really showed them that, look, you are saying we are not good in this, but we are better than you. They do normal tuning. It's only later that they started, if you want to tune the guitar now, must not be E, G, D. You tune strings differently. And like in Zaire, when they play the guitar, the people will wonder what is happening. Are you sure this is the guitar? So definitely our own instruments didn't have all those like electronic heads and everything. So it made it more difficult to play. So if you see that and you come and masters or jack. I had a man close to my house. I don't know whether you met him, Bobo Jaja. If you met him, he will be in this band. If the man plays or jack, I'm grown up enough, I'm old enough, and I'm up to 60 years. But I could never interpret what the man was playing. That's about it. His house is just close from my place. Okansi.
I learned his late.
Long time. So our people master instruments that are so difficult to play that thing show promoter players. Okay. A white man cannot even handle it, not to play it. But if you see he's making strange noises with it, and he will be running with his singing. So basically, these days, it's only people like you, and perhaps I think it's because you went to school and read that you were able to do it. If you were just another dilettante, you'll just be growing and begging for money like you said, like the others.
You see, understanding the Western classical music tradition is very, is a good background for me. And having that as part of my foundation, because I really grew up with Igbo music too, I was opportune to be exposed to the tradition. But having the Western music tradition in the background too was helpful. And one thing it did for me was to take people like Eze Igbo as seriously as I take people like Bob Dylan. To take Uzoatu, his orchestration as seriously as I would take a Beethoven. You know, not just Western classical music, but even music of other world cultures, understanding jazz, understanding the blues, understanding what Little Walter did with the harmonica, made me to take seriously what the man playing Oja is doing, because harmonica is a small instrument, seemingly simple, but the black man discovered new genre, new sounds, and new genre with this instrument, discovered new textures, new ways of expressing this instrument. You know, the black man discovered new ways of, strumming the guitar, of picking the guitar, of tuning it, of expressing it. Discovered new ways of playing the trumpet.
Nobody can say it better than Chino actually. Actually said that the black man went to America and they gave him the trumpet and he discovered jazz.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
To listen to.
You see, and when somebody is good in something, goodness is universal. Whatever you say, once you are good, you are good. Even if you put recipe into it, they can say, let me use your good. So that is what happened to us, and today the white man has agreed.
Yeah, interesting. You see, this has been wonderful. I've come to understand that nothing was wrong. I was asking those questions deliberately. Nothing was wrong with the generation that started using the trumpet, Rex Lawson and Fela, and nothing was wrong with them. That is what they saw, they conquered it, and they expressed Africa with this instrument. And nothing is wrong again with the new generation that is going back to the traditional instruments. Today we have a piano. That is the rave. But why I do what I do in the academy is, let's not just dance the go-go-go-go. Let's not just dance the Oja piano. Let's remember that today, that while rock was happening, there were books being written on rock. So what is the documentation happening in Afrobeats? What is the documentation happening in indigenous music? Who are the people, this who can sing now, is he in any book as a master performer of Oja? No. It's just a story that we tell with the mouth. But this man is as good as Little Walter. At least Little Walter was well documented, recorded. You have books that can teach you how to play the harmonica. And you can express the style of Little Walter. You have books that will show you the licks. That's what they call it. They show you the licks, that the techniques.
They will record them and sell.
They will record these things and sell. So as far as I'm concerned, like we were saying outside, we are still not doing business well.
No. Like I told you, the thing is the business angle is better, or will be better when we take it up. Because all this world is being popular now is about marketing.
Yeah.
Before, all this in our direction that you asked me about, if you play your music, you just sell it maybe in your town. Every town had a running band. You couldn't go to Warri and challenge Tony Gray. You couldn't come to Onitsha and say Prince Nick won't play here. Or if you are not in good terms with Prince Nick, if you come to Onitsha to play, you put a show, and nobody will come to your own. So, but now, this new world order, the world has one market. With all this YouTube, Spotify and stuff, you play something in your room. If it is good, you'll be selling it all over the world. So that's help in a way. So, and with time, even if we don't write, they will have to write.
Yeah, but it's not good. I know you agree with me. I think you agree with me that it's not good. I will sit down and an Asian, will write about Oja and publish the book. That will sit down and an American will write about Eze and publish the book. And then we buy it and teach it. It's good that we do the writing.
Yes, if they do it, they'll make a mistake, then we'll correct them. They don't know what they can write about it.
We have to do it. We have to master the art of making this instrument. In fact, we have to master the art of taking advantage of situations. Because as far as I'm concerned, Afrobeat will one day fizzle away. And if all we achieve with it are the numbers, when I mean numbers, the money, the streaming, that is wonderful. That is just one level of success. The documentation, the books, the dialogue, the music festivals, a lot of it needs to happen. And the economy also, has to favor Africa. We need to bring these things.
You're right, I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, look, these things, it's not as if anything goes. You have to market the product has to be perfect. In the sense that the people now who should be doing this now, the people getting from Afrobeat. Tell me one Afrobeat song that has a solo? Or one Afrobeat star that is an instrumentalist? All they do is they are studio musicians.
So you think that's a challenge?
Well, I think they are challenged. Because a friend of mine had a studio. All they do there is somebody will do something on the piano, they will store it, then they will tagging all of the song is there. It's not what one guitarist do. You play 3 chord songs, and once it sells, you don't even try to improve your next album. So anyway, there must be a way to start.
Yeah, what I understand from what you just said is that we need Emeka. Because if we are vibing and producing albums, and these albums are vibes, and they are global vibes, and they are generating money, it means that we will likely keep vibing, and the other angle of the serious work will elude us. And so, of course, that is why we are having this conversation. And I think at this point, we will open the floor for the audience to either throw questions or make contributions. Does anybody have any question or contribution to make? Question to ask, contribution to make?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I have something in my head all the while before this conversation. Like most of us enjoy the folk songs. Hello.
Give me this.
I think it's back. Most of us enjoy the folk song, but you can't find modern artists, singing. Well, I mean the Igbo one, though, because the country is like a folk listening to the West. You can't find them going into that. And are we not looking at the business angle of such a genre? What exactly? How do we find because there is sure market there, but I don't think it will fly like someone that will just come and say you are waste, all I want is your waste. I know sometimes entertainment is producing for people what they want to listen to. So how do we try to balance up the financial angle and continue it? Because doing it without considering the financial side is just a hobby. And I'm even looking at the band and I was like, God, how do we sustain this, keep them going, and all that? So I think the question is directly to you.
I'm sure Mr. Uzoatu has answer to this question as well, but I will start by saying, I will remind you that when I started performing, I said that I am stubborn. And the only thing a stubborn person wants to gain is, I want to do this, you will finish it. If you like flogging, you will finish it. So I'm encouraging you, Ozzy, when you have a child, I think your son is stubborn. Allow him to be stubborn. Because he is the type that if he grows, he will see the road less traveled. He will enter that road if he likes to. Once he enters that road, he will suffer everything that he meets on the road. He will endure everything, and he will most likely conquer. And so it's not a fun place to do folk music. But this is how we also cheated ourselves. Today, parents will call for music training, and what they will say is, I want piano lesson. Can you imagine any parents calling you and saying, I want a lesson? The only time it will happen is when your neighbor travels to America because of Ocha. Maybe your neighbor, 15 years old. Then you will start looking at your son. Are you sure this boy should not start learning Ocha? Today, programming Neuzi. Parents are now bringing people to teach their kids programming. So we wait until it is financially viable. Well, that is okay. So in this generation, the older generation, they would prefer piano lessons, right? I don't blame them. The musicologists who also belong to that generation did a lot of work. They were the church organists, they were the piano teachers, and they explored Western music, and as also did African music very well. But the focus was always either piano lesson, the closest would be guitar or violin. So when you continue to do that, you have medical doctors, engineers, like you have a Philharmonic Orchestra. Most of them are professionals. Medical doctors who are flautists, medical doctors who are pianists, lawyers who are trombonists, professionals in different areas who can play Western musical instruments. That is again what we are preparing our children to be. The advantage will be if you can teach children in primary school these musical instruments. When they want to choose their career, some of them will become engineers. Then you have an engineer, a world-renowned engineer, who is also a village-renowned Uzoatu, because it's in your village that will test to know whether you can play Uzoatu. Like, he is a master of the arts that if he returns to the village, Acharya. And at the same time, this guy is an engineer. Not organists. We have a lot of medical doctors in Nigeria today that are organists, that are pianists, that are concert pianists actually. But how many, tell me one, medical doctor that you know that is an expert on the Obaka or Une? These are the kind of people that can sustain it. And that's why Mr. Uzoatu said clearly, if I didn't have the background I have acquired over the years. I would have also not had this appreciation of the art. So, Omoma, for instance, is in second year medicine. She's going to graduate and become a doctor. And she can play the oboe and she can play the oja. And she's already reaping the fruits. Wherever she goes to perform, she shines. She's special. And I take your permission, Ebube, to tell this story. Ebube is the elder brother. He plays the guitar. And if they go out for performance, they will be studying medical health. He plays the guitar and he can also play the oboe, but he's more interested in the guitar. And in the academy, because we do Igbo Renaissance, we are not saying you must learn oboe. If you want to play piano, you play piano. That's why you have the options. So Ebube had gone to a performance with the sister Oloma, and they were performing. They sang Marvin Gaye, all the beautiful music you can imagine from America. The audience will just, that's beautiful. They will even clap by tapping their lap, Then Oloma played the oboe and sang. He thought that was the end of the world. Then Oloma played the oja, and everywhere scattered. And she earned a lot of money. That was the one that hurt him most. So I want you to look at that reality. So this Oloma is already seeing reaping the fruits of being Igbo in her musicianship. Tell me, do you still need to advise her? So the challenge is not that our people are not serious, they don't want to play. The teachers are failing. Tiko do have these instruments na kaka to Chikaima plays oja. She just finished, secondary school. She's also a student of the academy. Chikaima Eze. She plays the oja. And she has earned Opekata Mpe 200,000 naira. Like, I'm sure that is not the real amount. In the space of 2 years. Sometimes she will play the oja, the mom will put it on Facebook, and people will start donating money there. And some people will again say, cleanse this land. Yes, like the way you said me this morning, Reverend Sister playing oja. Whenever people say things like that, I'm very happy. Because the person that is saying it does not play the oja. So why won't this girl play it? Do you want it to go extinct? When your first son is not playing it, allow somebody's daughter to play it. It hurts you so much, get an oja teacher. So this girl, Chikaima, is going to study law. Now, you have one who is in pharmacy, the other two who are in medicine. And they are all multi-instrumental. Zita plays the obaka. She's in, I think, 500 level. Medicine. She plays the obaka and she plays the guitar very well. In all of these, you have a tradition that you can sustain. So I can't promise that there is a market that will salvage this. The last thing I will say is that I'm signed to a record label. So the madness of coming to Onitsha with this large group and to entertain a community, a creative community, free of charge. And the real madness of going to school and not clubs can only happen. You know why I'm calling it madness?
Yes.
Because it's not shaky. Yeah, it's not normal. It can only happen when you are signed to a level, not just a record level, a level that identifies with these qualities. So Carbon Records are interested in indigenous music. And this guy has been working, and I have met this level, and the two clicked. But we must first make it possible for it to become a tradition, that the idea of learning indigenous musical instruments is at the foundational level. It's your education. You grow with it, and then you can meet opportunity whenever you meet it, whether it comes in your late 40s or early 20s or at whatever age. I think that's the only way the culture can grow.
Another thing, my brother, is, naturally, most Muslims are pessimistic. Like today, when we assume that the West is better than us in everything, that kind of thing. But the world has not ended. Where we are there, and where we are there, when the Egyptian civilization was on top, the world is coming. So sometimes we think it's finished because we're talking about things that happened before our very eyes. But the issue is, this our education is what we raise us. Our children are learning the computer today. When they run away after learning it, they will be here. As long as they're still a country, they will be here. How did we start striving for independence? Was it not when our guys went to fight in the Second World War? And when they were dying by themselves. And they knew that, look, these people are human beings like us. So the point is, today we build our tomorrow. We cannot continue like this. We don't need the government to come and tell you stop playing Western music. Nobody can do such a thing because the place where you buy music, you don't know what somebody is playing in his bedroom. So all these young men now who are following them are the people who will enter even that their music, like you said, and use it to change our own, like you are doing. So no hope should be lost. Things have not fallen apart. Things will still fall in place. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other contribution or question here?
Thank you very much. Ozi Baba, ọdụkọ mgbe m na-ekwu ebe ịgba m maka ana m ekwu ka Kembogo, I'm so happy. I met Ozi Baba. Okay, my name is Afambo Edechi Lotam. Ozi Baba na Afam Lotam area. I just messed up my thesis defense in philosophy na University of Nigeria. Let's just graduating. Academic own graduate in the US, I graduated. I'm so happy. Kembogo na the conversation na all the personal to me in the sense that one of the conversation I want meaning book maka where Gerald Eze just suppose a giant go island go back at the west. One of the things that I like it, and then it's confirmed over on many Afrocentrists na a play the blame game. Yeah, you channel Inca. One of the best things in the Alliance Africans is the Second World War. Makanibanya on a slave to Jereba. Fukana, I got one year Sikeo. It was Moto and Mokana boss on your protocol 9. It was after that they began to talk about Pan-Africanism. It was their conference of Panodoiba and the rest of them, and some of them who went to school. Today, you know, about Hokai. In an Emmanuel on African metaphysics. Upon a claim that it is most of the time, if you want to story, if you only ask, maybe no, come and have a what I value. Where I call the guy, he got Gerald Eze, one day man, the money Google Jam, and always be going to never now. Then, so we have not begun to tell our story the way we should. Also, any of us tell our story, loud our story. I call it young one way. Mwe female na kwa mwe fina patase. Nde mwa direct size maka for the somebody where there maka. Na ala plonye ro direct ya maka Igbo boy ndi Igbo. Ana agba sinsi. Mwa so kuwewa na okoro ma agba mwa gele baputa. Esidia ekele kwa school na baputa na kwa no be aka do ja oko. So and then if you personal to me, we will make a flute. And then my thesis on epistemic injustice. Epistemic injustice on the Igbo, man, no very if one have more than one book or see one Igbo or see one back one soka. But then everything in the book. Or by knowing validate everything in the book, and able to come over Igbo, come over able I come wine. Now the others of my thesis when argue, where say, why do you have to tell me as an African child that A is for apple? Why not tell me that A is for akara? Akamu mnaonecha. Nena na memori gamu mbele kwa simu mnaonya toko. Amalo ifa na apple mbembo matakale. All just an abstract concept. Mana ndego na akale uri ndego te akamu. And even ida say na A is for akara. Kama na ABC data kwa na akana ebeno. So mana today, I didn't have any about the story. Then if you don't go everywhere with Afrocentricity na. If you have a story legacy case, we call the whole thing that happened na Greek, na Aristotle and Jana Egypt, where they more on Australia. As no bad Africa, philosophy, everything, even in a joking. Even in a column, Roga Balloon, cooking the Islamic in a mere good. So let's begin to tell our stories like just like Ozi ekwu maka ego. Mgbe meeting Ozi na 2022, tupu like ihe ọnwa mbụ na my life can never revolve around money. Enwerekwa m ego mana ama m na agụụ na-egbu m. Throughout my stay at university, ama m ka m si ahọdụrụ na agbapili ya. Mana ọ na-abụ ndị mmadụ na-afụ ife etu a. Mpụta njọ ka m fụ ya etu a. Maka na enwere ata ife na-eme ebe a nụ. And ọda adị izi. Maka even great philosophers, mgbe enyi ma Aristotle ma Jizọs nwa mgbe ọ bịara ndị nwanyị na Kraịst. Nwere mgbe ndị mmadụ ji esobe etu a. Nwa na-egwa maọbụ etobekwa na-akụ ba na-eme gị na-ege ntị. So I am so happy na ife Gerald na-eme. Mụ na-ebukwa friend na Facebook ka nne ọ dịkwa m ka ife n'isi mere ugwu mgbe ọ fụrụ onye nzọpụta. Tata m fụkwara ihe. Ọ dịkwa asịkwa m ndị nwere ndị akpọrọzi ya maka na I'm so grateful. Ya adị m happy. Ya ife na-eme efukwe dọkịta maka ọ student doctor ọ mụkwa. Enwere ebe dị ka medical student doctor iwe na UNEC ada afụrụ ụzọ. So ọ student doctor ka ọ bụ. So nke ya bụ doctor egwu ọja bụrụkwa doctor na-akpọ ụgbọ. So thank you so much. I'm so happy. It is when we begin to tell our story just the way we are doing it now. Ozi ya na-eme kenere nne maka na ozi si na ọ bụrụ na onye ọbụla chekwaba nke ya onye ga-echekwa bụ nke anyị. Ibe n'ime bụ nke anyị bụ ụgbọ na ọja na ọsị ya na ọsịrị ya. Daalụ nne. Thank you so much. I just finished my thesis. I'm not I can't graduate.
I did religion philosophy.
Okay.
I left at 84.
Wow.
So, you don't know what I like me, I wanted to study traditional religion personally. But the lecturer said I was a lazy student and he refused me. The other. So the kid may want to learn more. And there will be nobody to teach, you know. There's one of those things.
Okay, my name is Cynthia, and I want to address the creative community. We have talked a lot of things today, but I will tell you what you will take home. When we are talking about the African music and everything around it, I think for us, in the simplest way, is for us to begin to appreciate the African music. Now, what I mean by us appreciating the African music is that there are a lot of things that our children, I have children, are not exposed to. They don't know about it because they're not exposed to it. But if me, as a person, can begin to appreciate the African music, my children will gain a lot from just the fact that I'm appreciative of that.
But you listen to it in your career.
Yes. They will learn a lot, they will pick a lot, then they will develop the interest. And that is how we grow. That is how we spread the gospel. And that is how they begin to ask questions. My son is very inquisitive. He can ask you any kind of question. Answer a call. Mommy, who are you calling baby? Why did you do this? So you can imagine when he channels this kind of questions to things he's speaking around me because he's being observant. And when he asks these questions, if I don't have the answers, I will look out for the answers. If I have the answers, I will educate him more. Because there's no formal gathering where you can keep your children and start telling them, about these things. And we have little time to even start telling folk tales to children now. But little appreciation of the African music, African culture, and everything, be a lot helpful to the children. So that is what I'm telling us today. So as we live here, we should, imbibe the culture of being appreciative of the African music, and it will, help to spread the gospel. Thank you very much.
That was very apt. I actually picked interest on the order because when I was 5, my uncle, who was a Reverend Father, please, a Reverend Father, Gerald Eze, would always play a one-one for me in his room for me to watch. That was my Disney. And in his car, he would always play Pericoma. In a one-one, there is Oja. In Pericoma's music, Oja is actually the driving force. And so I remember when I was just about 5, within 5 and 7, I was doing them without knowing what the thing was. And my uncle was observing me, and he started laughing. Because when he laughs, that I came back to my senses, and I was like, okay, what was I doing? And I was ashamed, I was embarrassed. And then he started saying the things, I will call your name and say, you see, I was given the tools of the language in the first place, and then exposed to this art form. And then there was no teacher to even do anything, and I was expressing it. So the first thing we have to do, like Cynthia pointed out, is to make it available to children. In your car, play this music. At home, play. A lot of people love high life today because their parents played good music. A lot of people, watch good movies today because in their home it's a culture to watch good movies. And also what the graduate of philosophy said about epistemological injustice. That's such a big what is it? I find it interesting because looks like you are doing one village thing. Then Akobo looks like you are doing one village thing. And sometimes I think the ancestors, I'm convinced, I don't think anyone, I'm convinced that the ancestors are propelling me. Because I don't do much, and then I see myself teaching Oja in an Ivy League college. I don't do much, and I see myself performing. I was the guest artist with Two-Face at the U.S. Embassy celebration of independence this year. And I was in Oka and I got that invitation. And so, but let me tell you the truth. As a university student, I was saying crazy things. As a university student, I was saying that when I graduate, I will get a job in 2 universities and I will choose one. It happened. And I didn't even do anything for it to happen, but I was just saying it. I'm living the dream. The dream was playing my order, playing my oboe, doing my thing. And everything came to place. And I think that's what you were trying to say when you talked about situations. The World War II, exposed a lot of things. It was a situation, and the Africans who were fighting with the white people, the Africans who were fighting with the white people saw an opportunity, and they're like, "Oh, these people are human beings like us." So the situation today is that we are realizing, as if we did not know before, that indigenous music is the real deal, that African folklore is the real deal, that it will be fancy one day to carry over and walk the streets. Just like it was in the days of yore in Henry. People carried oboe around. That was their guitar. It was a popular instrument. And they never knew, instruments are extinct. They never knew that these instruments would go extinct. So I've done research, and I can tell you that, I see the surprise on your face. Oboe was too popular that nobody believed it would go extinct. Today, there is only one man alive, who I could learn from, and he's not interested in making it again,
I remember the guy, I saw him on the street and bought from him. I didn't know, but I saw him in your band.
Yeah. So, it's been challenging doing this, and but we're going to do it, and we're doing it. And as far as we collaborate as creative people, as far as there's Obaji for us to come to, as far as there are this wonderful audience that we have that's have stayed from the beginning till this point, as far as we have you, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just this, and this place, this gospel must spread. This Obilibo, Onyozioma, this Ozioma must spread. There are no 2 ways about it. So, I'm saying I enjoy the war for Bromen and Eziwife for why I want to sustain this, it will become Omenani. Thank you very much. I would like to invite Uzoatu to give the last take, summary.
No, that one is.
He's not capable of doing it.
Do you want to lose your voice? So I want to thank you, my brother. Keep it up. I was there doing Orion, a true mutual friend. You know, people in Onitsha don't believe that this is happening in Onitsha. I was in the literary community in Lagos. You know, I've been all over the place. But you'll be in Onitsha here and everybody will just talk about market. I mean, one of the markets, and you mix with all these people. They don't. I even send it about this thing to them. Look, come and spend a different kind of weekend. Because it's really enlivening. If I go home now, I will feel fuller. Although I missed my afternoon rice, you know. But all the same, gentlemen, Onitsha used to be the capital of literature in Nigeria before the war. Onitsha market literature. If you are looking for the books now, you won't see it in Onitsha. But if you go to universities in the United States, you have it in all their libraries. And if you read some of the books, you will laugh. But they were the in thing in Nigeria. How to talk to girls and win their love. Money how to make God easy to spend. They are pamphlets, but these books are all over the world. So please, the artist community in Onitsha, I thank you for keeping the flag flying. When I was running for House of Reps in this town, I was telling people, look, let us put Onitsha where it belongs. But some people say we are not from Onitsha, so we shouldn't try, you know. But all the time, please keep it up. Oh, I said,
Thank you very much. It's sort of a capital of entertainment. We had musicians from across the country playing here, and Uzoatu again has told us that Onitsha was the capital of literature too. So much from this city. And today, we just say Otu, Ewe, and the whole slice. I see that's the only thing. That is just another side of it, and it's beautiful too. So, doing this in Onitsha is a privilege. We are excited, and we are going to come again at Obaji, and we'll do it real quick. We're going to come again at Obaji Festival, and we'll do it real big. Thank you very much. There is so much to take home. There is so much to take home. We have a lot of prophets as musicians in the Igbo culture, from Ezigbo Bilibo to Afamobo to show, promote, and to, you know, Uzoatu. They did their thing in their unique way. Afamobo Togo's account of the Civil War, like he said, is really very apt. And when you listen to the music, the instrumentation will speak to you more than even the singing. The instrumentation will bring you to the reality, to be as if you are in the war. And then he will start telling you the truth about the war. And I think my generation needs to listen to this kind of music. So that when we say 1967 is not 2024, you will understand that 2024 might not be different because we still don't have AK-47. Thank you very much. Let's prepare. And I can tell you that, I see the surprise on your face. Opo was too popular that nobody believed it would question. Today, there is only one man alive, you know, who I could learn from, and he's not interested in making it again, you know. So, it's been challenging doing this, and but we're going to do it, and we're doing it. And as far as we collaborate as creative people, as far as there is Obaji for us to come to, as far as there are this wonderful audience that we have that, you know, have stayed from the beginning and till this point, as far as we have you, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just this, you know, and this place, this gospel must spread. You know, this Obibo, Onyozioma, this Ozioma must spread. There are no two ways about it. So, Anna said, I enjoy the war for Bromena. Mana Ezibuife for Waike Waf. And once we sustain this, it will become Omena. Thank you very much. I would like to invite Uzoatu to do the last take, summary.
Gentlemen, I want to thank everybody. What do they call you again?
Ezomo.
No, that one is...
He's not capable of doing that.
Do you want to lose your voice? So I want to thank you, my brother. Keep it up. I was there during Oriana through our mutual friend. You know, people in Onitsha don't believe that these things can happen in Onitsha. I was in the literary community in Lagos. You know, I've been all over the place. But you'll be in Onitsha here and everybody will just talk about market. And in one of the markets, and you meet with all these people, they don't, I even send about this thing to them. Look, come and spend a different kind of weekend. Because it's really enlivening. If I go home now, I'll feel fuller. Although I missed my afternoon rice, you know. But all these gentlemen, Onitsha used to be the capital of literature in Nigeria before the war. Onitsha market literature. If you are looking for the books now, you will see it in Onitsha. But if you go to universities in the United States, you have it in all their libraries. And if you read some of the books, you will laugh. But we are the in thing in Nigeria, how to talk to girls and win their love. Money how to make what easy to spend. They are pamphlets, but these books are all over the world. So please, the artist community in Onitsha, I thank you for keeping the flag flying. When I was running for House of Reps in this town, I was telling people, look, let us put Onitsha where it belongs. But some people say we are not from Onitsha, so we shouldn't try, you know. But all the time, please keep it up. Well, I think it's today, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very important point, Onitsha. You know, was also sort of the capital of entertainment. We had musicians from across the country playing here, and Uzoatu again has told us that Onitsha was the capital of literature too. So much from this city. And today, we just say Otu, away, and the whole slides. I think that's the only thing. That is just another side of it, and it's beautiful too. So, doing this in Onitsha is a privilege. We are excited, and we are going to come again at Obaji, and we'll do it real big. We're going to come again at Uzoatu Festival, and we'll do it real big. Thank you very much. There's so much to take home. There's so much to take home. We have a lot of prophets as musicians in the Igbo culture, from Igbo to Igbo to Afamobo to show, promote, and show, you know, the Chukwuwatu. They did their thing in their unique way. Afamobo's account of the Civil War, like you said, is really very apt. And when you listen to the music, the instrumentation will speak to you more than even the singing. The instrumentation will bring you to the reality, to be as if you are in the war. And then it will start telling you the truth about the war. And I think my generation needs to listen to this kind of music, so that when we say 1967 is not 2024, you will understand that 2024 might not be different, because you still don't have AK-47. Thank you very much. Let's prepare, because the future is bright. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Pac 10 Media, led by Cynthia. This kind of collaboration will not even happen, you know, if you don't have a media team that is interested, no matter how much you pay them, that is interested in the project. And I have enjoyed the musicianship of the best musicians I can ask for. You know, Charisma on the trumpet, Makana on the saxophone, everybody who played the airway, Oloma, who did the songs, Splendor, who played the organophone. And I was asking her to see, but Emeka, why, gender different, why the soft. She was soft on the organo. Chedozie, who coordinated this performance also, who played Opokoro, Somto, who played the bass guitar, Don Smarts, who was on the drums, giving us the vibe. Wonderful musicians. Who am I forgetting? I think I've called eventually everybody. And Sam, who was on the sound. A lot of work, and I tell you, I am proud of this team, and it's a blessing. When I get home, I will sleep well, because when he make it, a Splendor will not buy a waga. and teach the child in future. These are parents. These people are going to be, they are even capable of having children now, but they are patient. So once they do it, yes, they are in Thank you very much.